Hey, how you doing? This is Robert Ross calling from Self-Sufficient and Sustainable. This is episode 26, How to Make a Podcast. So we're going to be talking about all the ways that you can launch a podcast for yourself and possibly generate some revenue for your homestead. As always, we're talking about the ability to generate the dollar because you need to have that even in your best closed-loop system. So this entire week and coming up into next week, we're going to be talking about all the aspects of business. So this is our business week where we're going to cover everything from business, marketing, trend analysis, website design, the whole nine yards. So today we're going to be talking about podcasting. As always, let's go ahead and take care of our contact information. The email address to reach us at is selfsufficientandsustainable@gmail.com. Our website address is www.selfsufficientandsustainable.com. You can reach us at Facebook at www.facebook.com/selfsufficientandsustainable. And our Twitter and YouTube channels are Sufficiency Now. If you'd like to leave any comments, questions, ways you'd like to help the show, ideas for the show, or the ways that we can help you, please leave us a voicemail at 206-350-2226. We do release our content a week ahead of schedule, so if you would like to leave any questions or anything like that, please make sure that they do come in at least 24 hours ahead of time. With that being said, there are some new sponsors that we added on to the right-hand side of the page. You'll be able to see now that we've added on Fat Cow Hosting and Podbean as well. And a lot of those things we'll be talking about throughout the week as to why these people were chosen and why we brought these guys on board. Podcasting is a really interesting situation. I've done, a great deal of research on this, and we're going to be talking about a great deal of information today. So, put your seatbelt on and, start taking some notes. This is definitely one of those jam-packed things that you're going to want to refer back to probably over and over again. It's only so deep that I can get in an hour worth of information. So, anything that you guys want to get a little bit deeper on, just shoot me an email and I can possibly do a break-off show on that, like audio editing and all these other things. But for right now, I want to give you more than an overview, but definitely not as much as I can in an hour. So let's get right back to it. Again, please always remember that the Amazon store is a place that you can find on the left-hand side of the website. Please use it if you can. It does help us to levy some of the costs associated with doing the show. Again, please help our sponsors out. Buy the Dr. Pepper book, and please visit our sponsors if you can. They're honestly the best in their field, anyhow. So back to podcasting. So what is podcasting? Well, easily it's recording a show, a basis of content that's going to be released on the web so others can listen to it. So what are the methods of delivery for this usually? Well, it's usually one of two ways. One is a podcatcher, which is iTunes, Juice, any sort of other podcasting software. A lot of that can actually be done on mobile devices as well now. You'll find some internet subscription sites that you can get to. Feedburner would allow you to do email subscribing, which we have on the right-hand side of our page. Google Reader, there's some online readers. There's some, my homepage sort of things like my Yahoo and my Google and stuff like that you could add them onto. And then the other side of this would be streaming. This is, your YouTubes, your Metacafes, phone casting, shoutcasting, which is a little bit different of a method. I'm not going to get into why that is, but just know that that's kind of, sort of the way that this could happen. We use Mixcloud for our streaming of our recorded content. So there's, a couple different ways that can actually be delivered. So how does recording work? Well, basically, you just need a mic. The interesting thing about that I've come across, especially, it's really interesting when you have very little budget, and honestly, that's one of the main drives of this show. Is to try to give self-sufficiency and sustainability to everybody that we possibly can, no matter what your means are. no matter how you look at it, you want to try to do it as cheaply and most cost effectively and efficiently as possible. So with us having a lot of financial restraints, let me give you some idea of what you could use as a recording device. You could use a Bluetooth headset. Funnily enough, this entire broadcast is recorded on a Bluetooth headset. It is the Voyager by Plantronics, which I actually didn't put up on the site. Speaking of which, there actually is a link that I added on to the Amazon store. Again, I put a link up on the top of the site now for the store, and it's also on the left-hand side. There's a link now called Podcasts, which you can find all the information and the devices and all this sort of thing that we'll be talking about today. You can use a field recorder. You can use a portable recorder. You can use a PC headset. These are usually gaming headsets that have a headphone and a microphone combined together. You can use an MP3 player. I've used an RCA Pearl before. I've used my Samsung Omnia to record some of these episodes. I've used an iPod. Any of these sort of MP3 players that have recording capability. You can use a phone with voice recorder. Some of the podcasts have been recorded on that as well. I highly recommend the Creative Zen 2. Just an amazing piece of machinery that thing is. If you're looking for an MP3 player, I adore that thing for a lot of different reasons. Voice dictator, I personally recommend your Olympus or your Sony's. I think I actually put some of those up on the site. A PC with a built-in microphone, like my webbook here, has one. A webcam. I actually recorded an episode on a webcam. So let's talk about mics real quick. There's basically two different mics. The rest of the mics really don't matter because they're just not something that you're probably going to be able to get your hands on anyhow. What that basics of the differences between the mics are is a dynamic mic, and we won't go into the technology of this because it really just isn't necessary at this point. If you guys, like I said, want to go deeper in some of these, let me know and I'll dig a little bit deeper. Because funnily enough, I was an audio engineer for a while too. Go figure. So anyhow, they're rugged, they're cheaper. They're, however, not usually tuned to the intricacies of voice. They're good for singing and that sort of thing, but as far as spoken word and stuff like that, they're really not really the way that you want to go. I mean, unless you go up into like the Rode Podcaster, which I put a link up on the site for that, you're talking about a lot of money for that. And professional radio dynamic microphones and stuff are like $1,200. I mean, they're really, really expensive. You can go that route, and a lot of people end up going that route when they become professionals and stuff like that. But honestly, you want to go with a condenser when it comes all down to it. These are fragile. They are usually needed to be powered by something called phantom power, and the basics of that basically just means that it needs a power source to work. And again, I won't go into exactly why that is. But that's usually done either through a mixer, it's done through possibly an audio interface that has a power supply or an external power pack. But just know that this mic, if you try to get it to work and it's not working, it's probably because you didn't address the phantom power needs of your mic. These are very sensitive to voices. They're also very sensitive to heat, cold, and moisture. So you have to be very, very delicate with your condenser microphones. These are not something that you just want to have laying around. A lot of these microphones come in, foam cases and stuff like that, and there's honestly a reason for that. You have to be very, very gentle with these mics. I put a lot of mics up on the site. These are really the mics that you want to go with. The AU 2010s or anything like that are just the mics you want to use. They're just the best ones out there. Spend a little bit of money on it, and you're going to get what you need. I've gone, obviously a lot of, cheaper routes, and be careful of the all-in-one answers, and just buy the stuff that's on the site, honestly. I've done a lot of researching on this. That's just the stuff you need to buy. If you don't believe me, go and take a look, and you'll end up probably finding out that the stuff I put on the site is the stuff that you need to use anyhow. So what do you choose? You choose a condenser mic. As far as the format is concerned for your microphone, it really depends on you. Now, one thing to be said about that is here's some limitations. Bluetooth. Bluetooth really has a 5 to 6 foot radius of bankable connectivity. Okay, so you really can't get 5 feet outside of what it's being linked to. Just giving you guys a little bit of heads up on that. Wireless, you're a little bit, further out, but you can possibly pick up interference. As a matter of fact, I have one podcast where, somebody possibly was, jacking into my Bluetooth, some bleeding and stuff like that. So you just need to be conscious of those sort of things when you're doing wireless technologies. You can use a lapel mic, a desk mic, a stand mic, where you're using a classical stand with a boom. You can use a handheld unit, a headset. Any of these things will work. Really, what you're comfortable with is the best thing to use. You know what I mean? I'm ADD guy. I like to move around a lot, so it's really hard for me to use something that I can't move around with. It'll make a better recording if you just make your environment more comfortable. If you like to stand, get a stand mic. It just really doesn't matter. Put your laptop on a stand. Do whatever you need to do to make yourself as comfortable as you possibly can, and you're going to get a better recording of it. You're going to be able to be more you, and you're happier with recording. So just tune into what you need to do. With that being said, we're going to go to another podcasting term and recording term called rig. What a rig basically is what you're using. And you're going to see, funnily enough, very few information about what people are using for a rig. So what I'll do is I'll basically give you an idea of some setups, and I'll give you an idea of kind of how I've dealt with the podcasting issue as well, especially with having a very little budget, and how I've kind of rolled it out as well. But for right now, let's talk about some ideas. Well, right now, a good budget idea is to use the PC that you probably already have. So that you would use a USB condenser mic. You would record that through and use Audacity. And then if you wanted to do that on a portable option, sometimes you can just, do it straight from the portable recording device and, use a USB connection to bring that in. That's a possibility as well. Like I said, your portable recorders, your MP3 recorders, you would bring that in USB-wise, upload that onto your PC, and then you would do your editing on Audacity. And then from there, you would use an RSS writer, RSS creator and stuff like that, and then, use an FTP software to go ahead and upload that up onto your site. We'll be talking about that a little bit more here. If you want to upgrade yourself up, you're going to want to get yourself into a mixer setup. And here, let me give you a little bit of kind of an outline of what the mixer is and to kind of give you an idea of why you'd want a mixer to begin with. A mixer basically allows you multiple inputs and tactile control of the frequencies and volumes and effects and these sort of things of the recording content that you're trying to bring in. So this allows you to bring in multiple microphones. This allows you to bring in multiple external devices like effects units or compressors, any of these sort of things. And you could put these all together and bring them in through the mixer and then output all that out through your main sends, which all a send basically is exactly like the word states. It's sending it out, and you're sending that out to a recording device. So that kind of gives you an idea of what a mixer is. The reason why you would want that is mostly for your ability to do multiple microphones. Are you going to have a guest? Are you going to have a host and a co-host? Those would be some of the things that you'd want to be considering when you're thinking about bringing a mixer in on the scene. If you want control of your effects, tactile is a really big thing because it's a real drag. I've done desktop recording and engineering, and I've done it on a mixer as well. And I can tell you right now that there just really isn't anything like having